Alrighty, so this is the instrument cluster diagram. We have fuse 24 and it goes through connector C200, pin 63, down to our instrument cluster. Okay, cool. Looking at our BCM, fuse 24, comes out of integrated power module, and it's showing that it doesn't have any intermediate connectors, which is kind of strange. So is there a splice somewhere? This is pin 6, C9, and this guy is pin 6, C9, but it's showing a connector. So we could pop up the actual fuse box and take a look under there, or we can go for this connector C200. So before we go chasing that bad power feed, I mean, that could be time consuming, especially if the harness goes through, you know, areas that are not accessible. Let's do a quick bypass test with a fused jumper right here, just a 10 amp fuse, and we're gonna jump constant feed that we know is good, the white and red, pin 1, to the feed that we know is bad, pin 2. Easy enough. And we'll make sure our turn signals work, make sure our BCM is functional, because it would suck to, you know, spend all the time chasing a bad power feed and then to figure out that you have more problems and kind of, you know, not be done. So let's just put this thing in, power up the BCM correctly, make sure everything works, and then we'll chase down the bad power feed. Alrighty, the jumper is installed. My fuse did not blow. We didn't expect it to blow, because this problem is not the power wire shorting to ground. Otherwise that 20 amp fuse in the box would have blown. This is a case of the green crusty somewhere. It's just barely, you know, little currents making through, but when you put on that big amp draw for the turn signals, boom, it overloads the circuit. So here we go, hazard lights. Woohoo! We got blinky. We can power up the cluster, make sure that works. Everything works, turn signals work. That's it, that's the problem. Question is, could we, you know, if we have a hard time finding this bad wire, could we just use another power feed through, you know, another 20 amp fuse to just feed that pin on the box? I really don't see why not. They're all constant battery feeds, so I don't see why they need 3 separate feeds for this function. Maybe if, you know, a certain circuit blows, then you still have functionality of the rest of the box, but you know, this just shows that that's the problem, guaranteed. So I'm going to take off this fender liner because that harness goes into the fender well, and it looks like it comes up right here and goes to the fuse box. And Chryslers of this vintage, the wiring starts looking like this. I mean, this is like, you know, disaster waiting to happen. Like, it's all oily and greasy, and just the wiring harnesses are routed kind of in a haphazard manner. So who wants to guess what's going to be hiding behind this shield? I gotta say though, they did a nice job on their Christmas tree fasteners. You gotta freaking take a claw hammer to these things. Jeez. I can't believe the head doesn't snap off. We got a couple more to go. Let's see. Getting started with the claw. Oh, that one was friendly. How many more do we have? 1, 2. We got one more over here. Sweet. So the case for fixing the problem the right way is, if you know, if one wire got rubbed through and got the crusties, who knows how many other ones in that vicinity have the same issue. Like, you know, connectors like that, they just live in this really crappy environment. I think I got all the screws out. No, maybe not. One more over here. There you go. Then we're going to find some good stuff in here. Get this thing out of the way. Alright. So, oh yeah, water everywhere, of course. What a great place for connectors. What a great place for the freaking engine computer. Holy crap. You guys see this? The cover is like coming off of it. That blows my mind. You can probably see right inside in the circuit boards and everything. Wow. How is this thing still running? Unbelievable. I wonder if there's a relocate. Look at that. Completely destroyed. But we are after the customer complaint, which is our, what was it, the brown with a red stripe. So where does that harness come in here? There it is. There's the pass-through. There's one of them. There's a white with a red stripe. Let me look around and find that power wire. So on the integrated power module, we're looking for pin 6 on C9 with the brown and red wire. And on all data, here's the integrated power module, the rear view. And it should be a black connector, C9, pin 6 should be in the corner. There's the front control module, so it should be right here. Let's find it. Alright, I think we found it. If you look right there next to the white and red, you see a brown and red. And, well, we'll just use common sense. Where's the lowest spot in this harness where these wires could possibly corrode? I think right here is going to be our spot. The other low spot is right here. But let's peel back some of this tape and at least do a check right here to see if we have a good power and we're going that way, or if we have a bad power, we're going that way. Or, no, it's rubbing up against the body there, but I don't see any signs of intrusion into the harness, so we'll just start peeling back the tape, see what this harness looks like. Well, I found two brown and red wires here, and well, we have to figure out which one it is. I did kind of a tug test. They both seem pretty stout, good. Turn on the hazard lights. Why is everything working now? We don't have a jumper in there anymore. That blows. This is something I did over here. A little wiggle test. Damn it. We fixed it. Ah, that blows. Now, where is the splice and which wire is carrying stuff to our cluster? Great question. We can, I guess, put an amp clamp around both of these and see which carries the most current, and that one will go to the turn signals through the BCM. That's quite annoying that it fixed itself. You wouldn't think a green crusty wire would fix itself, right? Everything works. Right there, no jumper, as is. We fixed this stupid car. Let's get an amp clamp. Alright, let's get our amp clamp set up. Let's go to scope. Now in this case, you really don't want to poke holes in this vicinity because, well, this car has enough problems as it is. So let's do 4-channel, and our setting will be, let's see, 100 millivolts per amp. So 1 volt is going to be 10 amps. So all we need is 1 channel. 1 volt is 10 amps, so let's drop this down a little bit. Like so. Turn on our hazard lights. And there we go. So we're going a little over 10 amps, and then when the lights, filaments get hot, our amperage decreases and it's on and off. We can try the other wire. Let's see here, other wire. We got nothing. So this wire right here is definitely going to our BCM. Now, what are the chances of some green crusties reconnecting after doing a tug test? Slim to none. So that leads me to believe that when we flipped up this fuse box, we disturbed something with that connector, and we had a little crusty on the pin. It wasn't letting enough current through. So I'm going to take the battery out, flip the fuse box up, and unplug that connector and do a visual inspection, because just wiggling it could have easily fixed the problem. It's not looking like a bad wire at this point. Aha! It's all starting to make sense now. There's the wire that we did the tuck test on. You can see it's kind of tight in here now. So the problem has to be here because there are actually 2 wires that come out of this pin. One goes to the cluster and the other one goes to the BCM. And if the BCM's demanding a high current and the cluster also goes bad, that proves that since these 2 wires are independent and there's little to no chance that we have 2 wires that are compromised, the problem has to be either in this box or at this connector. That makes me feel better about not poking holes, but we still had to take that harness apart. And that right there, I think, is the problem. Look at those pins. They are green. Poor contact was being made. This little pin right here, that's pin 6. That was the whole issue. Just a bad contact between here and here. Those 2 wires were not getting enough juice. So let's spray deoxit on this, all these pins here, put it back together. So just wiggling this a little bit restored the functionality. Wow, I'm amazed because could have sworn it was going to be a wiring problem. So we'll just have to wrap that back up, no harm done, and clean up this interface. Alright, we're going to use the good stuff, the deoxit spray. Let's just go for it. There, that should be enough. That's all you gotta do, just spray it. One complaint I have about this bottle is that this thing comes off. I had to put some O-rings on there. It was leaking out everywhere, so good product, but the can needs a little work. Alright, that looks all clean and nice. We can even do a little scrape on that pin to make sure that the contact remains good for the rest of the life of this van, which I don't know how long it's going to live. You might need a new transmission module soon. Oh man, I mean, some of these contacts just look terrible. I almost want to do it to all the connectors here, but you know what? Green and crusty is... we wanted to come back for more video material, right? Good enough for me. Plug this sucker back in. I mean, they're not even sealed, and this thing lives in a terrible environment. Who thought that would be a good idea? Planned obsolescence, maybe? Wiggle it around. Close this rat's nest back up. Click. Oh man. Poor Chrysler. I mean, it's a decent van. I don't want to like completely badmouth it, but when it comes to long-term reliability, it's just these stupid problems. It's a shame, right? Let's put the battery back in, make sure this thing's fixed. Alrighty, battery's back on, fuse box is back in. Hazards. Beautiful. Everything works. Alright. What's the lesson of today? Before touching anything, do your testing, because that problem right there, if you went to the fuse box, flipped it up and did a visual inspection, boom, the problem's gone, and you had no freaking idea what just happened. Yeah, that's about it. Do the next easiest step. The BCM was a lot easier to access than a ground somewhere on the B pillar, and there was nothing wrong with the grounds anyway, so that would have been a waste of time. So yeah, just the most efficient, logical thought process. I can't believe it wasn't a wiring problem. It was just a bad connector at the fuse box. Little green crusties, of course. Thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye. Just a little bonus footage. To completely 100% complete the repair, you got to go through with a scanner and clear out any codes that were stored in these modules when that BCM went offline. So I scanned the engine, no codes. Transmission had no comm with the cluster. That makes sense. So that transmission module is still talking, even though the cover's rusted off of it. Pretty impressive. Instrument cluster and proper power down, and in the stored history codes I had a whole bunch of no comm, no bus messages. In the body we had a whole bunch of left turn signal, right turn signal, indicator open, etc., ignition off, draw, and I guess the airbag's messed up. Must have been an accident and never restored, so we're going to take it for a test drive, make sure it drives okay. I saw the front brake pads were worn down to the metal. The oils probably hasn't been changed in 5 years, but you know, at least we fixed the customer complaint. Alright, thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye-bye.